Hello, welcome to ManHound Sound Sessions. I'm your host, Bill Wardlow. My guest today, Josh Knechtly. From Rootbound, See You in the Funnies, and Ghost Mountain, Josh is an extremely busy guy. You can catch him playing live just about any time you want to, and I highly recommend you do so. He always puts on a good show. He's got an amazing stage presence. He's just a really well-rounded musician. It's really fun to watch. I really enjoyed having him here. We had a really good conversation, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the live performance. With that said, let's get on with the show. Here's my interview with Josh Knechtly. Hey Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Awesome little studio.
Thank you. First things first, how the fuck do you say your last name?
Everybody ask that question. Knechtly, just that's the way everybody says it, but it's actually supposed to be Knechtly.
Knechtly.
That's it. The K is silent, people.
Where'd you get started playing music?
Well, born in Cincinnati, grew up in Winchester, and music was around, in the cars and, on movies and stuff, but never paid attention to it. Never got, asked, what is this? Until I was like 13 and, heard Metallica on the radio at school, was asking all my friends, who was this? Hey, what song? I just keep, I'd wait for the song to come back on, turn it up. Hey, who is this? What band is this? And they're like, that's Metallica. I'm like, okay. So I, jotted that down and went to my grandpa's house for the weekend randomly in the summertime. And the neighbor kid had a guitar, and all of a sudden, all the stars aligned. I saw the guitar. I was already thinking of CDs that I wanted. And so right around 13, man, I was like, okay, music, that's what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yep. Got the guitar. I only had 5 strings on it. Asked my, mom to take me to the Willis Music at the Eastgate Mall. Bought a couple of those tab books. Learned the whole tab book within like a month.
Heck yeah.
Starting to ask around the school, who plays drums, who plays guitar, So we found those friends real quick, and then it's just all history from there, About
Nice.
7th, 8th grade, it started to get serious.
So what time period was that? What Metallica album?
It was a Black Album. It was Enter Sandman is what I heard. Just that, the iconic riff, Enter Sandman, and the drums, and something clicked.
That's a huge album.
It's huge.
It's a big sound.
When I found the DVD of their making of, the year and a half, that was on repeat in the VCR. That and Ace Ventura. Those were the only 2 movies, VHSs that I had, and it was a double VHS, for that thing. So
yeah, I had the year and a half on tape too, and I wore the tape out.
That's how I learned about the conception of studios, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they go in a room and they record music,
Yeah.
I'm
you
a
could
kid.
do it separately, and
Yeah.
you could try all kinds of different sounds and stuff. It's really
I remember
cool.
I was 17. See, I had some friends that had studios in their bedrooms and stuff, so we would layer stuff up and try to work with the recording. But I remember first going to a studio in Columbus, and it reminded me just like Year and a Half, Metallica, and I'm like, this is it. I'm here. So, and then I'm thinking, oh man, then you're thinking amps and guitars, and it just keeps going, and it's a sickness, isn't it?
It is.
It's a sickness.
It'll definitely ruin your pocketbook.
Yeah. And well, it's a different kind of socializing.
Yeah.
But normal social life.
I always wonder what do people look forward to that don't play music?
Exactly.
I've often wondered that, and I'm not sure what
I'd have to say most of my friends, man, besides just family and, relatives, every one of my friends is creative and plays music in some way.
Yeah.
They're either something. So yeah, that's a good damn question. What do you guys do with your time?
Yeah.
So
What do you do with your time? What do you look forward to? How do you set goals?
yeah, yeah.
So when did you start writing music?
Well, I just I have a bunch of demos from when I was a kid. You come up with lyrics and writing. It didn't get super structured and serious until I met the guys in Rootbound. So when we formed that band, we're starting to structure things together, and that's when it all kind of made sense. And that was 2003. So, but like I wrote songs with Dusty Shamlin in a band. We was in high school still called Confused. We wrote a 5-song EP. You know, put all the parts. So that was kind of like the first time, besides just being a kid in your bedroom, writing on a notebook. It was like getting with the guys in the band. Really, all right, this is writing. This is what we're gonna do. Uh, we were obsessed with Godsmack in the early 2000s. So it was, you listen to your influences and you're like, how are they writing this stuff? That's really what it was. It's like listening to music. That's my other question. You said, what do people do with their time? To be able to listen to music like somebody that doesn't play music, I want that back, man.
Yeah.
I remember that.
As an engineer, I have a real hard time listening to even a recording and not going, wonder how they got that sound.
I swear, man. Just hearing a song for exactly but not picking it apart. There's that you sacrifice that. You're kind of like, oh man.
And there's no getting it back.
There's no getting it back.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Right. But yeah, when getting in the band is when the writing started getting,
So not long
sense.
after you started playing then.
Right.
Early 2000s.
Right. Learning the guitar, you're kind of not even thinking about writing. You're just thinking, all right, how do they play this? Wow, this is how they play it. You're just learning about how magic it is. It's like, man, so after everybody plays their parts right, it sounds huge and it sounds, you're just figuring all that stuff out in the early state, and then all the lyrics, and then
That's
lyrics.
when it gets difficult.
Yeah. What are you talking about? So yeah, I just used to, I'm a one-liner guy. I'll write down a one line, put it away, grab that piece of paper back, write another line. And then
I've got phrases and stuff that's been sitting around for 20 years.
Yep. And that's some guys like the Jimmy Kleppers and the Adam Lees and the
just kind of pours out of those guys.
It just pours out in a stream of, that's what they're saying right then and there. I've never been able, I'm kind of doing it now. There's like right now, this year I've set a goal. We're going to do a Ghost Mountain record. So it's about, 7:00 at night, 8:00 at night, all of a sudden stuff starts just coming out. I have to like hurry up and try to get it down either on the phone or on a piece of paper. And I'm the king of losing great ideas. Like I'll have an idea, won't record it, won't write it down. Poof, it's gone, forever.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm practicing now is like being able to capture the ideas,
Right.
Then and there.
I mean, you carry everything you need in your pocket all the time.
I'm not I know, man. Come on.
It's never been easier.
It's never been easier. And at the same time, it's like still fumbling it to get out of your pocket. And
right.
I do. I got nits and bits all over my phone, but to puzzle it together, that's where I'm at right now. So.
You were talking about recording that first EP. What'd you record that on? Do you remember?
On
just what media?
Like the board and stuff?
Or was it digital?
No, it was analog.
Reel to reel,
well, yeah, we was going through Pro Tools.
Like cassette?
We was going through Pro Tools.
Through Pro Tools. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about
yeah,
like in my bedroom, or are you talking about when we went to the studio for the first time?
You were talking about recording an EP with your buddies.
Oh, that was through one of those early. This is before Pro Tools. The one in high school was Alan Grims's stepdad, Bill, had a recording. It was all, you know, the boards that, yeah, it's one of those digital boards
Like
that
everything all
it's
encompassing, like
yeah,
a BR 1600 or something like
had the
that.
screen in it.
Yeah,
It was like a board with the screen in it.
I
It
had
was
one of
one of
those for the
those.
longest time.
That's what it was. That's how we did the 5-song demo. But right after that, we went up to the John Swab recording with Joe Veers, and he had big board. He had the Pro Tools, and that's, you know, that's where.
Nice.
How,
What board was he running back then?
I'm pretty sure.
I know he's got a Neve now, but
I don't know what he had then. Yeah, I don't know. It was something
hadn't
similar.
caught that gear bug yet.
No, I didn't. I didn't care about, obviously, because he was like, "Is this the amp you're gonna use?" I'm like, "Yeah." What do you mean? You know, I had no clue, man. And it's just so funny now. Like, you know, I'm bringing up a stand. What is that? Not a tube. I didn't have a tube amp. You know, I
Yeah,
didn't
a
know the
solid
difference.
state.
I
Yeah,
didn't know the difference between amps then either. You know.
yeah.
He's like, no, put that guitar down. You need to use this Les Paul, and here's my Marshall. You know, he just get out of
Nice.
the way, kid. Let me
Yeah,
sit you up.
he's
So
a great engineer too.
he's an amazing engineer, and
Yeah,
he's simultaneously a great producer and engineer at the same time because he cares in the moment, you know, about
right.
what you're doing. He can see where the sound needs to go, and that's I learned from him, and that's yeah.
So I know he does really good work. Is that EP still around?
Oh yeah,
You have a copy of it?
yeah.
And what is that?
That's Rootbound's self-titled EP,
Nice.
2003. Yeah. Um, like one of the songs on there we wrote 2 days before we went to the studio. It was that kind of energy, you know, just really discovery and rock and roll, man. Just yeah, just like you're just when you first start out, you're kind of you're wowed all the time. Wow, we're doing this. Wow, we're in the studio. Wow, we're on stage. You know. Wow, somebody just asked me for their autograph. Why? You know. So you're surprised all the time. But yeah, that CD, it still holds. People still talk about it today. They're like,
Yeah,
you
it's a
know,
great sounding CD.
but it's young, it's raw, and I think that's what you know, these raw records that we hear, the band's first records. I mean, you know, maybe Rage Against the Machine or Tool's first records. They're so raw.
Yeah.
There's something good about that. Now I love the
Well,
produced stuff. I love the produced stuff, but like,
I heard it said once that it bands have a hard time following up their debut album. And the reason for that is you spend years getting to that point where you're ready to record a record. And then in between, you got a year or two, maybe three.
but the first record, it
But the
was your
first record,
chance. It was your chance to
yeah,
record a record. It's like,
yeah.
we get to record a
You
record. Go,
spent your
go,
whole
go.
life up till that point getting ready to go into the studio and
And
record that first record.
yeah.
And then after that, everything that comes
Well, if
after
you're
that is a different thing.
if you're lucky, you know, the record wasn't as good as you thought it could be, and you just keep going and trying to make a better record and a better record and a better record. And that's really how we've approached it. And, you know, is we just try to make a better record. And you always hear things that you can't go in and, you know, sand it all the way down. It's like, you know, that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
It don't have to be perfect. Some of that
Well,
stuff's
not
out of
just that.
tune.
You don't want it to be perfect.
No.
It's those little things
The out of tune
that
guitars
poke out, and yeah, that little phrase that was out of tune when you sang it, and
mm-hmm.
you know, you got to leave some of that stuff.
The out of sync doubles on the vocal, you know, anything. But we grow and learn, man. And believe me, I used to be nervous about all that. No, it's got to be perfect. How do you? No, hold on.
Oh, and in today's age, you can work on it and make it perfect. Doesn't make it better.
Auto perfect.
You know,
Auto
you listen back to like the Doors' first record, recorded in 7 days, just a bunch of live cuts basically in the studio.
Black Sabbath's
great album.
Black Sabbath's first record was 5 days, and that's the way it should have been. That EP was written. Basically, the songs were kind of formed within a year, 6 months. That the fifth song or the song in the middle was wrote 2 days before we went in, and we took 2 days to record it. Now you're not, if you got them ready, you're basically just sounding like a live band as
Right.
much as you're going to sound like you're going to go in, you're going to knock it out. We did track by track. We did the drums, the bass, the guitars, layered everything, but it sounds like a young, live, anxious band,
Bunch of guys in a room playing music.
Yep.
Nice. Let's take a quick break and have you play a song for us.
Right on.
Awesome.
I had a home, third world from nowhere. 10 years ago, I left my brothers there, back in the sands, with the gun and the enemy man dealt the devil's hand. I'm sure that I'll never win, my story shot full of holes, my wounds exposed. Maybe I'm not to blame, 'cause it's in my roots. You're free to walk them dead man's boots, yeah. I'm the only son living in the shadows. I was never alone. Thank God this head was my home. I killed a man, branded to do it again, but the past is done. Promise is not freedom. My story shot full of holes, my wounds exposed. Maybe I'm not to blame, 'cause it's in my roots. Free to walk in dead man's boots. I had a home, third world from nowhere. 10 years ago, I left my brothers there, back in the sands, with the gun and the enemy man dealt the devil's hand. I'm sure that I'll never win, my story shot full of holes, my wounds exposed. Maybe I'm not to blame, 'cause it's in my roots. You're free to walk them dead man's boots. Free to walk them. You're free to walk them dead man's boots. You're free to walk them. You're free to walk them dead man's boots. You're free to walk them. Free to walk them dead man's boots. You're free to walk them dead man's dead man.
So you were in that was great, by the way. Awesome.
Thank you.
Um
It was fun, Megan. I didn't expect walking into your studio that it was going to be that, you're like, oh yeah, let's layer the song. All right, let's layer the song. That's cool. Thank you. Oh yeah.
yeah, cool. So you were in Rootbound. How long were you guys hitting it hot and heavy? I know you guys were on it for a while.
Oh yeah, day one. So it was 2002, and we practiced in our practice spot for a year, close to a year, without ever hitting a stage. As soon as we played our first private party, somebody heard us. We got the next gig. So it started really fast, really quick, and it lasted from 03 heavy to we had a singer transition in the middle, around 2008 to 13. We had Joey Vasilay come in, and when Joel came back, we hit it again, made another record, and that ride kind of stopped and took a break into 2016.
Did you do a record with Joey?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Whole Lot of Trouble.
Yeah.
Have
See,
you
I
listened to
wasn't.
that?
I wasn't aware of that.
See, a lot of there was two heavy spots. It's hard to see it when you're just doing it. It's hard to see, what people, their perception, or what,
Right.
what the hype is. But when we first started, it was, you could feel it. Yeah, I could feel the hype. We could feel the hype. We could see the hype. Then we're playing Bogarts and the room sold out. I'm like, what the hell? That ain't for us, is it? Somebody, you know what I mean? Like, we're looking around.
That's when you know you're doing something, when you start selling out 1,500 person rooms.
Well, it was only once in a while. It was these big old festival, there's 8 bands on the bill.
Right.
So maybe that had something to do with it. Everybody's bringing their families. And, but no, it was fun. It was super. We're hitting tours with Seven Mary 3, Jackal. We're doing one-offs, here and there in West Virginia, just getting in trouble, just playing rock and roll. And then when Joel left or took a break, when Joey came in, we really just, we bumped our shows up to 3-hour, 4-hour sets because we were playing covers and originals. So, and that was basically for the practice and the boot camp of it while we're making Whole Lot of Trouble. And Whole Lot of Trouble, we just put all our eggs in the basket, pulled out some old riffs that I had stored away, and allowed him to, we had some lyrics already written, and then he came in and was adding some lyrics. So yeah, man, that was a fun record, man. That was a really fun record.
Heck yeah.
So you haven't heard that one?
I have not.
Go check it out.
I will definitely do that.
But so that was the second hype part. I feel like when we made that record, the fire got, there's fans of Joey, there's fans of us.
I was going to say, I'm a big fan of Joey's anyway. So
right.
Yeah, I definitely got to go check that out.
I feel like it spiked again right there. 2009 to 13, something like that.
That had to be a heavy transition though. Like, those guys are different, very different.
Joey was super different. When he was younger, there was more of he was in Millennium. There was more of a System of a Down, or it didn't sound like he sounds now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Totally transition. And totally two different singers, man. And we knew that. Like, we got singers that filled in before he joined that were singing like Joel, trying to sing like Joel. Come on, that ain't cool.
It's not a good.
That ain't cool. So it's like, all right.
That's only worked for AC/DC.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I enjoyed the Axl Rose stuff better than I did the Brian Johnson stuff.
Have you seen Stone Temple Pilots with their new Scott Weiland?
Yeah. Yeah. He's not Scott Weiland.
No, he's not. But it's like if you squint your eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was two.
On the other note, there is the Journey guy.
Oh yeah,
the little guy from Journey. He's just amazing.
He's amazing. We won't say nothing about him. Yeah, so there was two hype moments, man. Rootbound's doing it a long time. So, and then we come back and do one-off shows, and we're gonna work on a couple singles, coming up pretty soon. Nothing super heavy like it used to be, but keeping the legacy alive at least. And we're working on a DVD, so there's so much footage from all these years. I got my partner Austin dumping down DV tapes, high 8 tapes. We got stuff stored on DVDs. We got pictures that need to be scanned. Just bring it all to the digital platform, and we're going to put this like basically 20 years of the story of Rootbound together.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
That'll be a lot of work. Some new interviews and stuff like that. And it's just, the story needs to be told, man. The story really just needs to be told. We've been so we're from a small town. We keep things quiet. We don't.
It might be the second coming that's even bigger. I never even heard of Anvil until their documentary came out.
Until that damn documentary. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, man, things are happening. And then the Funnies, man, we made that record. It took us 3 years till last year to make that record.
And it sounds awesome.
So yeah, basically when I joined the Funnies, we finished up what they had for the whole, or that we did the Root Fest compilation, and recorded with, that was Rootbound's last single we did.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
is there any Rootbound Fest?
We're always talking about it. We're always talking about it. It's about the property. The property owner passed away, and we were very kind of rooted there. The barn, the stage, the electricity, the where that we camp. It was all laid out. We've been there. We had 9 of them, and I think 7 of them was at that barn at his property. So
Yeah, it's hard to start all over someplace else.
Well, yeah, it is, because you got expectations. It's like, well, we won't have a cool, and plus, we had a really good deal with that guy. It was a really good relationship with him. If we was trying to do it anywhere else, it really cost a lot. And with COVID hitting, it's just not even. People are scared to even go outside their house.
Yeah.
Still, man, and we're a year and a year in.
Some in.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to a concert.
Yeah, man.
Really bad.
I've been at a lot of concerts. I got good friends, man, randomly. Like, it could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They'd be like, hey, got a free ticket. Come on. I was getting ready to make a pizza. All right, let's go. So I've been hundreds of concerts in the last few years.
Yeah.
More than ever. And then, put on the brakes, baby. But
yeah, hopefully it'll all be over soon, and we can get back to life.
There's a couple small gigs that are on the books now, acoustic stuff, Ghost Mountain, but nothing full band has been,
Yeah. Well, people just don't have the room to do it. Maybe I'm hoping once it starts warming up and we can do some stuff outside and things will start happening. But
yeah, the outside
we'll see.
stuff will.
I never would have believed it would have went on this long anyway. So
you're right.
So yeah, the Funnies record, Soft Pack.
Yeah.
Just come out. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about the process.
The whole thing, the process. Jimmy was on a writing frenzy, dude. And we just finished, basically, I Know You Are, But What Am I? Joe mixed.
Great sounding record, by the way.
The
EP.
That EP?
Yeah.
They had stuff tracked already, and we finished tracking at the studio. You were talking about Lamont's down there at Sugarfoot. 2 songs, took those tracks up to Joe. That's when he first met the band and was like, wow, okay. And then he mentioned right there when he was mixing that EP that if you guys are going to do another one, I like how he said if you're going to do another one, I'd love to track it. I'd love to be there from the beginning on. I was like, I agree. So Jimmy just, hey, I got a shit ton of songs. I'm like, oh my God. So the boys, Jason, them guys would show up to Will's house and just demo them, on one mic, electric drum kit, just to get the idea, working on arrangements. We're showing each other back and forth. And we got a rough idea. We go up and do 2 songs. I think the first 2 songs we did on that record was a 2-day session. It was Combat and they're going to kill me. It was Combat and Soft Pack, maybe. It was 2 songs. We brought it back, and Combat kind of just like set the tone for the whole record. Like, okay, this is it. The drums, just the whole tone of everything. The Combat was like, okay, this. And then Jimmy was getting into some more heavier stuff. So that's where you'll get the heavier riffs. He was, bringing some of my influence. DK being the first time I'd maybe ever recorded a record, the bass, and so it was his first time recording a record, the first time having a different bass player on the Funnies record. So all that's playing at the same time. Me getting to help produce and guide from the beginning to the end, with Joe and having the tones. But we do 2 days at a time. It'd be either a Monday, Tuesday, or it'd be a weekend randomly. and we would just save gig money, save merch money, go buy a couple days, track. Save gig, merch money again, go buy a couple days and track. And we just did that process. It took us 3 years until we all got some mixes back that we were happy with. And we're like, this is it. This sounds good. And then we did the vinyls for the first time, and none of us had ever done that process. So that's a whole 3-month process that you got to learn about. And the dudes, you know, it's hard to be patient, man, you know?
Right.
And to stay excited about something that you've worked on for 3 years is another discipline, you know, because you're people are going to hear it for the first time,
For certain.
and it's hard to be excited.
I asked about that record for at least 2 years before I got to hear it.
There you go. Right.
And,
well, it holds up. I think it does hold up. It's like it's very clean. It's
a great sounding record, and really, I think just the Funnies' best material.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've really all you guys have come in to your own and really solid. It's a solid sounding record.
Pretty, you know, the band totally got better when they introduced the tambourine. But yeah, man. And so since that's over, Jimmy's been on another writing frenzy. It's a whole nother different style of music, I feel like. So if a Funnies record pops out of that material and he's doing the Easy Rugby stuff, collaborating with different artists, it just, it's ever evolving stuff. And then I'm side shooting off and trying to finish and get an original Ghost Mountain record together. So just all the sounds and influences that I've, the last couple years, this is all new from Rootbound world. That was my only band. And now I'm working with 4 bands. It's like I'm spreading the eclectic music, musicianship.
And each
here.
one extremely different from the next.
Right. They are.
So,
yeah. I wouldn't be in 2 rock bands. Fuck that.
So doing the vinyl on Softpack,
yeah.
Did you have to have a separate master for the vinyl comparatively?
Yep. I think they do less mastering. So what you would master for digital.
You can't have quite the amount of low end in a. You have to take some of the low end out of the vinyl
because there's so much.
It'll kick out of the groove.
Correct. Yeah, there's a fine line with that. They do less mastering, so less compression for the vinyl, so it stays
a little more open sounding.
Yeah. And
can you hear a difference in the two? Have you listened to the two?
Oh, hell yeah. It's
side by side.
There's a tight, it's hard to describe. People use the word warm because that's, the bass, the roundness of the low end and the tightness of the low end. Like it's, if nothing bleeds, it feels like it's just very tight, pockety. The mids, the highs, and you're hearing the material. I don't know. It's just very awesome and different, dude. CDs are still the cleanest, most present sounding medium that we can listen to music on nowadays. Like MP3s, none of it has, Spotify.
Right. You
CDs
lose a lot of sound.
Yeah. CDs are the cleanest, best presentation, but there's this organic thing that happens with the vinyl that makes the songs even cooler.
I feel like it kind of helps mesh everything together, kind of like a compressor does, but as just like a warm blanket to.
There's music in them grooves, man. It's just so weird that needle's just dragging across it. And well, I remember we got Softpack test prints in, and we put it on, and the volume wasn't up, but I heard the music, and I was just hearing the needle like hit the record. You can physically hear the needle.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, you didn't know that could do that? And I'm like, no, man, this is awesome. So that's a really cool. I'm glad vinyls are coming back. It brings the art bigger, the physical product.
That's what I miss. Taking the record out and digging through it and looking at the artwork and reading.
It's delicate.
Reading who worked on the record, and
it brings a really nice physical delicacy to it because you got to touch the vinyl a certain way. You can't just dig into the grooves, and you don't want to rip the shit. So, but with streaming, there is no delicate care,
Yeah.
the care is gone.
There's also you lose being able to look at the record and see who even worked on it.
Right.
Like most streaming services don't even tell you who produced it,
That's
who engineered it.
That's another thing.
That's important to me.
Right.
And yeah, I'm glad to see it coming back.
Me too, man. And the CDs, I'm a big fan of CDs. I still buy CDs, and because it physically is. I mean, put them side by side. It is the best presentation to get the sound of your record. So people are selling tapes. Some punk bands I saw in Nashville had cassettes for sale.
Yeah,
there's some people.
Cassettes are making a big comeback too.
You don't want to alienate any buyer out there, and that's the thing with the vinyl. Well, we're just gonna do streams now. We're not gonna print any merch. Well, you're fucking yourself out of money now with the people that want to buy that medium.
Right, right. Unless you're Wu-Tang.
Unless you're Wu-Tang.
And then you can make one copy and sell it for $1.5 million or whatever.
There you go. That's legendary.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break and have another listen to a song.
Let's do it.
High, low, on some, no one knows. There ain't no stars where I come from. Just a song, me and the boys gonna carry it on. If you get too far from that state of mind, run me back down the Bourbon County line, where the bluegrass is sweeter this time of year. Homegrown wherever I roll, rebel sound, rock my soul, I keep it homegrown. Wherever I roll, wherever I roll. Up all night, working out that sound. Fat boys got a hog leg going around. Bend them strings a little, won't you play some fiddle? I'll play the low, nobody take the tenor. If you get too far from that state of mind, run me back down the Bourbon County line, where the bluegrass is sweeter this time of year. Homegrown wherever I roll, rebel sound, rock my soul, I keep it homegrown. Wherever I roll. Soul, I keep it homegrown. Wherever I roll. My oh my, what were you hoping to find? The wine ain't sweeter, the grass ain't greener out on the other side. State of mind, run me back down the Adams County line, where the bluegrass is sweeter this time of year. Where the bluegrass is sweeter this time of year. Homegrown wherever I roll, rebel sounds got my soul to keep it homegrown. Wherever I roll. Homegrown wherever I roll, rebel sound, rock my soul, I keep it homegrown. Wherever I roll, wherever I roll. State of mind, run me back down the Adams County line, where the bluegrass is sweeter this time of year.
Great song, man. Sounds awesome.
Good stuff. I love digging into the old stuff, man.
So Along the lines of writing, do you ever deal with writer's block?
All the time. Well, my only case of writer's block is the capturing part. I swear, it's like I feel like the ideas are ever flowing, and I hear one-liners from conversations or this or that. It's just really about capturing it. So that's I don't know. I don't know if I've ever experienced writer's block because yeah, it just flows naturally. But if I don't capture it, there's nothing to show for, that idea. So
So it's not necessarily a writer's block problem. It's an oh my god, I can't remember how that went.
it's exactly. I'll just give that the credit.
Short
That's what it
term
is.
short term memory loss.
Yeah, exactly. Due to one of my favorite activities, correct?
So I take it through the years you've written a lot on your own.
Yeah, but none of it, hardly gets used. And if I do write on my own, it's the riff or the stuff will go to the band. It'll go to a Rootbound.
So have you been writing in groups with other people throughout this whole journey?
When Rootbound took a break, getting out of that group of writing, writing together, when I met Jimmy and the guys in the Funnies, I'm able to sit in the room and hear what they're writing and steer it. Or if I hear something like, guitar part or harmony or, ooh, it should stay heavy there or it should go, dynamically, be able to help steer their writing. But in a way, that's what I've been doing the last few years here is just kind of like helping steer other people's writing,
helping bring their songs to life.
Really, that's really what I've been doing. And so when I made the goal for this year we made that Funnies record, and I'm just like super proud of it. And I wanted to give that same attention to detail and stuff to a Ghost Mountain record, like something personal, bring in the lyrics. So no, I think on the lyric front with the project I'm about to work on and working on right now, I'm going to keep it close to home, and try to see it's the capturing thing. If I capture it, man, it's there, it's like, I'm real confident in that. But so no, not writing the new stuff. I won't be writing with anybody except for, Jimmy or my cousins will be like, they'll hear something, they'll tell me something. I'm using other people's words all the time. It's just like they'll say it in conversation or it's a life saying,
Right.
and stuff like that. So
So
yeah,
this will be the first project that's actually just straight from your hand.
yeah, I'm trying to keep it now. Man, I'm a collaborator, bro. I love collaborating with people. I love being in a band and helping steer the ship and
Well, and
all
once
this
you
stuff.
start playing with the guys,
it ends
steers the music a little bit regardless.
I'm used to recording by myself a lot. A lot of the demos and recordings that the Ghost Mountain thing that I put out a few years ago, that's just a bunch of demos from the apartment, from the bedroom, from recording workshop, and I'm doing all the drums and the bass and the guitars because I'm just there kind of like going through ideas,
Right.
layering it how I would sound it. Then I'll show it to the guys and they'll be like, "That's cool, but we'll do this on the net. When we demo it again, we'll change."
It's always a fun trip to go up to the workshop.
Dude, it's a hell of a long drive, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's super fun. Super fun.
I played in a few bands up around Chillicothe, and we would
Take advantage of the place.
We took a lot of advantage of it. They would give us a call on the spot, like, "Hey, can you guys come out today?" So we would do that quite a bit.
And that right there is practice recording. Like to show up to a studio, you got 6 hours, and if you want to leave there in 6 hours with a full song pretty much conceptually done, with every layer, you got to like
not just that, as a aspiring audio engineer, I got to stand in the room and listen to what was going on. I got free classes out of a lot of that. It was
it's huge, man.
Really huge.
I don't remember when I first went up there. It was very early 2000s, but I never went to school there, but because I was being brought up there to record for the students, and it could have been basically me by myself or with Rootbound or with some other artist, it was always practice. Like we were practicing on the metronome, we're practicing, with tones, we're practicing the nervous, that nervous feeling you get when you get behind a microphone,
Right.
So it's all the above that
just
recording workshop.
playing together in isolation booths where you can't, where you're listening over headphones. It's a completely different experience. It's not the same thing as standing on a stage together.
Yeah. So I love that place for all those experiences that it gave me, and and then the students coming up there, it's boot camp. They're living rough.
It's a great school though. They're living
frugal though, man. They're every candy bar counts,
Yeah.
They're in the middle of nowhere. They have nothing else to think about.
Stuck up on that hill in Masseyville.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's such a great experience and so much to be learned up there. Jakir King is actually a graduate from the workshop.
So is Joe and Pat and my cousin Jeremy. He graduated from there as well.
Yeah.
We're recording on his EP as well this year. He's always writing music. Has never released anything official except for a few singles.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. And so this year the goal is to get him an EP completed, released, and videos and the whole thing for him. I mean, yeah, he taught me how to, like, one of the first riffs I ever learned on guitar. And so I always try to motivate his ass to release his stuff. He's a great writer.
He's so good, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a great entertainer.
He is, man. He is. I enjoy playing with him. That's when I get to play drums and the other instruments too, when I'm collaborating with him.
Right. So how do you find the time to write? Do you set aside time to write, or is it constant?
Yeah, the guitars are in the house.
Just whenever an idea pops up,
Yeah, so it's just whenever. And then, when the guys show up, it's hardly we're never just hanging out. There's a guitar involved. There's something being put in the pocket, like some idea being stored away on the phone, so it's a constant, it's an everyday thing. Yeah, it's an everyday. It's little pieces of the puzzle. You'll get a concept, a word.
When you wake up, sitting there eating breakfast, you got to stop and try something.
No, man, just finish your breakfast. Finish
That's
your
probably why you lose ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Because I finished my breakfast. You're right. But yeah, it's constant, man. It's just like I've never ever thought about I'm going to sit down and write. Never have done that. Yeah, it's just it ends up being.
I know some people are very stringent about it. At 9 o'clock in the morning, I sit down and I write from this time to this time.
That's a part of dedicate or a discipline and a motivation that people, if that works for them, yeah. If that's the only hour they have that day to make sure they continue that path.
And it just goes to show you that there's no right way to do this. There's no wrong way.
There really isn't, man. And that's the beautiful part about it, because yes, the notes, nobody owns an E or an A. You know what I mean? The notes are the same, but it's the way you approach it is the organic part. That's the beautiful part of all the music. So everybody's individual approach to the right, and it all shows from the writing. If you wrote it in a shower on the final product, you might have a shower vibe. I mean, something something in that song is going to reflect that moment. So
do you think back to those moments later down the road when you're playing those songs years later?
In certain old songs that we play? Yeah, all the time, man. And I remember, like, what was accidents in the studio, like, what guitar part was a happy accident, or the arguing that happened to get the chorus to go to the bridge. You know what I mean? Like, all the arguing and the passion that goes into how you think a song should end up being. Yeah, you think of all that shit, man.
Yeah.
And that's part of not being able to listen to music for just the sound, as
Yeah,
a
it's also a great part of being able to play those songs though years later, and it's almost like you just did it yesterday.
yeah.
As you're playing it, all that stuff is so vivid. At least it is for me.
No, it's super scary. Time's super scary to me right now because I feel like I'm just getting started. And the whole time you just feel like you're getting started the whole time. And it's already been next year, 20 years in
Yeah,
of this like determined path, like this is what we're going to do. What's going to happen? I don't know, but that's what we're going to do. So 20 years out the window, starting, every day, man, just starting fresh, seeing what you can capture.
that's the important part, keeping it fresh.
Right. So like today, playing these songs in a different way, stripped down, that's super fresh. That's they're old songs, but they've never been played that way before.
Right.
So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I really enjoyed it too. So I know you're a Gibson man.
Yep.
How'd that come about? You didn't start out on a Gibson.
Oh hell no. Well, the true story is, bought that it didn't have a brand on it. It was a all wood finish electric guitar when I was 13 for $15. That one it was I just played it, but it wasn't playable. It wasn't, set up or anything like that, looking back at it. And I asked for a Rogue, one of in the Musician's Friends magazine. I pointed at it for my dad, I want this guitar for Christmas. All right. So they got me that guitar. And I played that guitar for like a couple months and traded it for a Viper. Or no, it was a Epiphone Les Paul. The Les Paul got stolen from the practice spot. It just one day we're coming to practice, my case isn't there. I'm like, what the hell? So freaking out. My friend's sister says, I'll buy you a guitar. I was like, no shit. Okay. So she bought me a Viper LTD and it looked like an SG. And that was, to me, the SG, the AC/DC, I like black guitars. I like the color black. So we went with that. And this has been basically my go-to forever. And
LTDs are great guitars.
it was good. I got new EMG pickups put in it. I had it all set up. And then I went over to a buddy's house and saw that he had a Gibson SG. It was a 2001 model. I think it was a standard. Sitting in the corner, dusty. I'm like, bro, what? And I go pick it up. I'm like, what is this? He's like, yeah, it's worth about $1,200. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, can I trade you my LTD? I just put new pickups in it and some cash for it. He said, yeah. I was like, holy shit, with the case and everything. As soon as I got that SG, I felt like I had a guitar now. All right, it's one that can go with me for the rest of my life, And Gibson's always got, they're a legendary name. You see them on all the magazines and the posters and the music videos and the records. You hear them all the time.
There's a reason they cost so much too. There's a reason in the price difference between
the tone wise. You're just talking straight up, just
the tone,
playability.
The way it feels, the playability of it.
A lot of people don't like Gibsons because you have to play them. You have to dig in. They're a very like digging style guitar. They're not like a super floaty Jackson or a Ibanez or nothing like that. You got to really dig in to get your notes, and that's the way I play. But I got the SG, and then my buddy calls up and says, hey man, down at the bait and tackle shop, they got a gold top. And I said, what? Yeah, man, they got a gold top down at the bait and tackle shop. I said, so I got in the car and I drive down to the bait and tackle shop, and it wasn't a gold top. It was a Fireburst Studio or Les Paul with gold pickups, covers, just gold pickup hardware. So I was like, all right. I asked for the price, super cheap, $600.
Wow.
Picked that thing up. So that was my second Gibson. Now I have an SG and a Les Paul. And years go by, and I'm wearing the hell, and I play half step down tuning for Rootbound, and those guitars are mostly in half step all the time. So I was needing a standard guitar, and it was my birthday was coming up, and my girlfriend bought me a gold top 2018 model, the tribute reissued gold top. And so I've been playing that, and that's my standard guitar. So now I got 3 Gibsons.
Nice.
And they're my guitar of choice, man, for real. Like, and then I love Telecasters too. So Fenders and Gibsons are basically, I can get any sound I'd need out of those, out of that mixture.
Yeah, most certainly.
So
what kind of amps do you prefer?
just anything tube. I've only owned 1 amp in my whole life, dude, and the rest of them have been borrowed by friends and loans, and I love tube amps of any kind, really. It depends. I've never bought anything super expensive, or
You just don't get the same rumble out of a solid state amp.
No, you don't get. You get the sound, but you don't. You get a sound. I'll call it a sound.
Yeah.
But you don't get sound.
The sound. Yeah.
The sound sounds like the guitar is somewhat coming. You can hear the wood coming out of the speakers. I love tube amps, man. They're just like the vinyl, like you're saying. They're warm. It's real. It's organic. You can hear them warming up. Just everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're
a
bitey.
Nice hum of tubes.
Like the tone I prefer is like that bitey, nice, punchy tone. So and really that's where the tubes come into play. So I played a PV 5150. Shout out, rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. And that was like the head probably I used for the most duration when we were touring and stuff, was like the 5150s. And then I just play with other amps here.
Those are great amps.
Oh yeah, 5150 and the 5152.
Yeah.
So
the older PV tube amps, just the combos and stuff. Some of the older
they
PV
sound good
stuff
too,
is just amazing. Yeah.
And the the Fender Champs and the Princetons and the Blues Juniors.
Yeah.
I've come to love them. You throw a mic on them, and there's a tone that they reach, and they won't go past it, or you know what I mean. It's like they reach this kind of this plateau with the volume and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that. You can crank.
And being low watts, you can really crank them and push them for all they're worth. Really get all that tune goodness out of it.
Yep.
Heck yeah. Let's take another break and have a listen to one more song.
You got it.
grip, I keep you alive. Forever punishment, watch me die. Well, I've mistaken for someone that I can't explain. Wish I could turn and run, turn and run away.
All right. Again, great job. Sounds great.
Thank you, man. I enjoy the studio. It's a nice environment in here, and getting to play those songs in that fashion. It's pretty fun.
Well, I definitely enjoyed it. Let's do a little rapid fire questioning.
Let's do it. It's my favorite, rapid fire.
What's your influences?
Music, stick to the classic rocks and all music. I listen to all music, and so when people ask me the influence question, I just say nature, the world, people, all the music. My favorite band that I would go to the most when I'm by myself is Tool and Perfect Circle and stuff like that. I'm a really big fan of that, and then really just everything, man. I got my eyes and ears open.
What's some good local bands that you listen to?
Man, there's a lot of great Cincinnati bands. Just a quick off the top, Livid, Lift the Medium, Sunday Drives, Motel Faces. Listen to Dear Agony's record from a couple years ago. There's so many bands, dude. Besides the ones I'm in. It's Nathan Witt band. Give him a shout out.
There's a lot of great music around here.
This place is a rich, rich place of music. Yeah, it really is, and it always has been.
What's your favorite venue to play?
It's fun doing the big venues in the city there when you get to do the Madison Theaters or the Bogarts, but I really love Riverfront Live, the sound. I love the Ludlow Garage. We played in there. That they got that thing sounding really good down there in the basement, and really, man, all the room. I don't know. I don't have a preference. I really don't. Small rooms to big rooms. Cincinnati, everybody's got their shit together. It seems like, everybody's treating bands with a little bit of dignity now. They don't show up for free. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Right.
And the sound guys are getting nicer. I feel like sound guys have got like a reputation of being some mean dicks, but no, man, you can smoke a joint with them. That'll fix everything.
It usually does. What's the best song you've had anything to do with?
Jeez, dude. I don't know. When you're working on them, when you're working on any of the songs, everyone's your favorite when you're working on them. But I feel like the Combat on the last Funnies record is like one of those songs that you're like super proud of, super glad to be in the room when it happened.
It's a great tune.
Yep.
Where can we find you at? What's your social media, and where can we go get Rootbound records and Funnies records and things like that?
Okay. So Josh Knechtly, if you look Knechtly on Facebook. basically Rootbound and Ghost Mountain you can find on Facebook, YouTube. SeeYouInTheFunnies.com. We got the t-shirts, the vinyls, the CDs available there. And See You in the Funnies on YouTube as well. Subscribe. Really, and NathanWitt.com. I'm in so many different projects and bands right now. It's just you can find me anywhere.
It's a good problem to have.
It's fun, man. It's really fun, and nowadays, you're like you said, technology. You're able to do multiple things easier than,
It's easier to keep track of what you're doing as well.
Yeah, it's all on a hard drive.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, hit us up anytime, DM for, pick a band that you want and DM us. For real.
And you've been working on a like a management or
it's a content
providing
company. Yeah. Well, I got a job way back in the day at a studio. Well, worked for Lick Records and Next TV. It was a content creation company, and facilitating basically booking, promotion, music videos for what I do, in the bands and stuff. There's still nobody to take responsibility for some of these, the bands I'm in and other bands around us, that some kind of support. Top Pig Entertainment's going to be able to hype the things that we want to hype, and in a quality fashion, and and I'm a big fan of comedy, so it's really to concentrate on the music side, to provide really awesome productions, shows, good bills, with a ticket price, and you come to it, but then also providing shit tons of comedy and short films and just crazy stuff online. We might bring that stuff to stage one day, but just right now it's just going to be video content. But really, the company's for necessity. It's like we need somebody to support the scene, and I feel like Top Pig Entertainment, I'm going to do our best to support what the scene is around here. We all have it in our heads what it is. We can see it, but you can't see it beyond our own.
I feel like that's why things haven't really broke around here like they did.
It's not packaged up, is it?
It's exactly. There's not a definite scene.
Right.
There's
a scene.
Some guys over here and some guys over there, and there's stuff happening here and there, but it doesn't feel like a cohesive scene.
Exactly. It's not.
And I think once it moves that way, I think you're going to see a big explosion of great talent coming out of this area.
Like this right here is a fine example of that. More of this content with all the friends that have their podcast rolling and being able to talk about it brings and referencing our friends. I feel like that will help mold the viewing of the scene a little bit more, being able to comprehend what the hell it is. Seattle did it, because there was a bunch of people everybody was represented in a really good fashion. And that's what it is. There's a representation there's a piece of the link missing, here. So that's what the goal is for the company, is just to kind of encompass the scene, push it out there, and, deliver it that way.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thanks for playing songs for us.
Thank you, Bill.
Have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Again, go follow Josh on his social media sites. I know he just dropped a whole bunch of dates. Go check out a show. It doesn't matter who he's playing with. They're all good. Got a couple of really cool guests coming up. Not sure who's going to be on next episode. You'll have to stick around and see. But I'm super excited about what's coming up. If you want to talk about the show, recommend a guest, or if you'd like to book studio time, give me a shout at manhoundsound@gmail.com. Also go to Facebook and follow ManHound Sound Studio. There's also a YouTube channel. Go check that out. Subscribe while you're there, and smash the like button for me. Until next time, I'm Bill Wardlow. This is ManHound Sound Sessions.